putting the sign about this many books.
I had to go by McDonald's.
Well, we went by Panera.
You got a healthy meal.
Yes, well, I try. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about that in this panel, and I'm sure that there are people in here who will trip me up. I only been studying pirates for a year or so when I got the gig from Disney to do the first Captain Jack Sparrow. They call it full-length novel, or an adult novel, because adult has connotations, and this is Disney.
Right, and there are a series of smaller youth books, or
little kid books,
kitty books that take
like rather dull 11-year-olds, and they're not really great, but it's they're the only Jack Sparrow books that exist at this point until my book comes out.
How would you say the canon is accurate?
Oh, I mean, one of the things I was told when I got the gig to write for Pirates of the Caribbean is you must remember these are Disney pirates, and we will not allow you are not to write about any real pirates. We do not want to confuse people with having real pirates in there. So you can write about real stuff, but it's got to be put into the Disney universe. Like, I can't refer to Blackbeard or Anne Bonny or Mary Read or Calico Jack Rackham, who probably was the closest prototype to Captain Jack Sparrow, because he liked to dress very colorfully, and was also an errant coward. And Jack, of course, is very brave sometimes, but mostly lives to run away, as he said himself. And so that's something that I found very interesting. But then later on, when I saw the scene in the third Pirates movie where they had the Brethren Court, every one of those pirates represented by the Brethren Court has a prototype, an historical prototype. Madam Chin and or Mistress Chin, and there actually was a Madam Chang, I think, and she was like the most successful pirate in the history of the world was a woman, and she operated in China to the point where the Chinese government actually paid her money to stop being a pirate and offered her and her pirates amnesty. She had at one point something like 50,000 sailors sailing under her command. She had an armada that was bigger than the whole Chinese Navy, and she was a holy terror. And she had been a concubine in a brothel, and she met and married some guy that was, after the death of his wife, he married her, and he was a pirate, and he was a pretty successful one. And she joined him, and boy, she took to it like a duck to water, because in a couple of years, when he died, she took over, and she was like really, really rocking and rolling. Sisum Babji, the Indian pirate, and Armand the Corsair, they all had their prototypes in history. And in that scene in the third World's End film, when they raise and hoist the colors, all of those flags, pirates, are taken straight from historical. As a matter of fact, Jack Sparrow's flag was from, was it Henry Everly? Whatever his name was, yeah. Am I right? Is that his name? Henry Every. Every, that's his name. And Barbossa's flag, of course, is the from Calico Jack Rackham. It's the prototypical skull and crossbones. And somebody else had Blackbeard's flag. Somebody else had Madame Chang's flag. So, Disney made very free with historical pirates, but didn't want any real pirates in there. So that was kind of interesting. And
it's safe to say that they were not collaborating with one another the way they sort of showed in the movies, that they were
no, there really was a Brethren of the Court. Brethren of the Coast.
What did they do?
They actually did write up articles and stuff like that, and Henry Morgan was involved with them. But when they talk about Bartholomew Roberts, he was a century later than Henry Morgan. The two were not contemporaries at all, and so that was kind of funny. And he was actually the Black Barkey or Black Bart, and so that was pretty. Or the Dread Pirate Roberts, Bartholomew Roberts. And so, yeah, I always knew I liked that movie, but when the third movie hadn't come out, when Disney approached my agent and said, could Ann write the first Pirates of the Caribbean book for us? And my agent said, well, she's involved with something else, and they said, if she can get out of it, we'll pay her enough to make it worth her while. And so I actually bought out of the trilogy I was writing for HarperCollins. The first book is out. The second book is about 2/3 finished, and it will just have to sit there until I'm done with Captain Jack. But Disney has been very, very slow to approve an outline. I'm hoping that I'm at the very last stages of getting an outline approved. I wrote 2 full book outlines for books that were not approved, and because the Disney film, my editor loved them. She loves everything I do. She's wonderful. I wish I could work for her for the rest of my life. She's a fan. I never met such a terrific editor in my life, and we just get along like great. But there has to be a fly in everybody's suit, and the Disney film guy is a lot. He may be very good at approving lunch boxes and action figures and things of the sort, but fiction is not his forte. And so he's very, very conscious of Captain Jack and keeping Captain Jack's name pure and reputation, such as it is, pure and all that sort of stuff. And just between you and me, one of his comments when I talked about Jack having pirated the ship, one of the proposed outlines that got shot down, I said, anybody takes cargo of ivory. And the gentleman's comment was, Jack Sparrow would never do anything so environmentally destructive as
Boy, what a case of presentism.
I am not kidding. I'm absolute truth. And so I was like, okay. I mean, the word environment, I don't think had been invented in circa 1700, but oh well. So anyway, I know we have, I know, I'll take it in a second, but I know we have a lot of folks in here who are big Pirates fans, obviously. So, I think what this panel is supposed to be talking about is, the differences between a fictional character like Captain Jack and the realities of pirate life. And I suspect there's a lot of folks in here who know way more about that than I do, or Michael does. So I'm perfectly willing to kind of open this to a sort of free-for-all, after we get through the first part where, I make my comments, and then, just to kind of let you folks chatter about this, because I gather there's some, total, absolutely stoned pirate addicts in here, right? Back in there with the pirate hats on. And, so anyway, sir, you had a...
Well, no, I thought I wait till the free, I'll mention a couple books you might find interesting. Okay, but they're both by George MacDonald Fraser.
I have those.
What? You have them? You have
I think I have them, yes.
Pirates.
The Hollywood History of the World, which has a chapter on pirates.
That I don't have.
And of course, the pirates.
That's a pity, because I was thinking I would want to discuss that with you, because he goes into the idea of that basically then he was looking mainly in terms of the few decades ago the big epics and movies and such, and he says they often seem to do a good job in terms of, you might say, recreating the milieu. They might not get their specific details right. I often felt that way about the Untouchables movie. They probably did a nice job of looking at Capone's Chicago, but as far as the events of the movie go, well, every once in a while there was probably something that was actually true.
But I think what Fraser was talking about specifically with pirates was that there were sort of people who were so weird, you couldn't make a movie with them as they really were and get anything everything that would be acceptable to the audience.
Well, yes, and
The case of truth is stranger than fiction.
Pirates weren't cute and lovable and cuddly. They just weren't. And Jack Sparrow's flash and gold teeth, were all very charming, etc. But yeah, we have 2 seats right up here, and we have a seat back there. So we do have some seats still in here.